Oh, I feel sad that Americans can't realize that if the Jews can come back to Israel after 2,000 years, why can't the Mexicans come back after 400 years to Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Utah, California, after those 400 or 500 years?
Is this your... Who is this?
Cat. That's Cat.
That's right. Who is this?
That's Wheezy.
Okay, Wheezy.
He's so named because he has a wheeze.
Okay. He seems pretty intelligent. He knows that you're being...
Yeah, he's very bright. He wants to be a director.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Have you ever been directed by a cat or a dog?
I've been directed by some goofy cats, some jerky cats, and some wise old cats. But Wheezy is only 7 months old, so you'll have to forgive the fact that he's learning. He's on the job learning.
The correlation between a middle class and union people.
Well, unions have been the backbone of our middle class from time immemorial. And of course, as a wonderful CEO of AFTRA said when I first came in as president of the Screenactors Guild, he made a speech and he said every inch of social advancement in this country has been done either at the creation by unions or with the assistance of unions to creating social advancement. I did radio acting in high school, but I never thought of becoming a radio actor. I loved it because I thought I was ugly, and I thought my voice will be the means to captivate women and the imagination. And that was fun in high school. Went to college, started a radio closed circuit station at the dormitory system, asked my roommate who was in the theater group at college, should I read for this production of Richard II that they're going to do? He said, let me hear you read. So I read from the Song of Songs, and he flipped. He said, where'd you learn to read like that? To him, I was the hick from Kansas City. I mean, I'd been a shoe salesman. I had trained as an encyclopedia salesman, and I loathed that. It was loathsome.
Did you ever get a door slammed in your face?
My manager trainer did, and I thought, bravo, bravo. I'm sorry his nose wasn't in the door when it got slammed. Ooh, what a loathsome creature he was. I drove a cab, I worked in steel mills, I worked in auto plants. I spent a year studying with Strasberg and didn't care for it. My first teacher in New York was Stella Adler, and I did not fall in love with her. I ended up with a teacher named Mira Rostova, and her method is simply called doings, made up primarily of active verbs. Sometimes though may even be inactive, but that's choice. And it's what you want to do when you say something to the other person or persons. Even if it's a soliloquy, you're trying to tell somebody something. What is behind the sentence, the paragraph? To inform, to question, to intimidate, to enlighten. So many forms of what you want to do. To entertain for the purpose of coercion, to entertain for the purpose of eliciting information. So many ways you can qualify it and know what you're doing in that moment that you're connecting eyeball to eyeball with the next person. And I follow that credo, and And above all, after doing the Mary Tyler Moore for 7 years and realizing the effect it had, whatever you do, no matter how serious and tragic what you're doing, to find the means of putting in a chuckle, a laugh, to variegate the theme, the message. As a kid, I'd always listened to a program on Sunday mornings, a radio program called The Eternal Light, mainly stories about Jewish history and stuff. On NBC, I think it was. It was a great program, and filled me with Jewish pride. I looked up this guy when I got to New York and wanted to be, hoped he would consider me for one of the radio productions. I got a call, finally. I think his name was Milton Sills. I can't remember. And I came in, and I was to be one of Moses' generals when the Jews were in the desert. There were about 6 of them. The other generals were Louis Van Rooten, Roger de Koven, Leon Janney, Norman Rose, and Alexander Scourby. And I was number 6. Now those 5 were the top voices in radio. Norman Rose did the narrator in the Russian War and Peace. And that voice was like balm of Gilead if you listen to it. Alexander Scourby, you knew all over the place as the greatest narrator voice in the world. Beautiful and gentle. And to be in this little schlepper from Kansas City, to be number 6 with these guys who, when they weren't on radio, were doing the New York Times crossword puzzle in pen. And I said, and no Hollywood star ever knocked me off my feet like those people did. So I would say radio was my greatest influence.
A favorite birthday as a kid?
I was in the Texas Panhandle, and I got a Red Ryder BB gun. And this was the greatest, I mean, it was a rapid action BB gun. And man, I was in 7th heaven. And I don't think I felt a thrill like that until I got my first cell phone.
Who made you laugh the most?
The Ritz Brothers.
The Ritz Brothers, okay.
The Ritz Brothers. They were funny.
This has been a real honor for me. You gotta know that.